ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing there? Excellent. Well, I'm very excited for you today to start your new journey. And this is going to be the perfect opportunity for you to be able to release negative emotions like anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. And as you do this, it's going to have a huge positive impact on your lives. I also believe that you've wanted to get rid of these mental and emotional blockages for a long time. Is that true? So today I want you to have fun and I want you to remember this. Please write this down. Every master was once a disaster. Every master was once a disaster. And what that means is everything is hard before it's easy. Now, when you are the coach, you are going to get better over time. And all I want you to do is just to follow the script. The script does all the heavy lifting. The script has been working for 40 years and millions of people have followed it. So all I want you to do today is just do what successful people do and read the script. Now, when it's your time to be a client, just enjoy being a client. When you're the client, no pens or paper required. Just follow your coach's instructions and you'll get it really fast. You're going to get your results really easy. And remember, as the client, the very first time you do the timeline therapy, it may be a little bit confusing, but as soon as your unconscious mind does it once, it gets it. And it gets easier every time you do it. In addition, we're also going to have an observer in each room. So there'll be a coach, there'll be a client, and there'll be an observer. So when you are the observer, your job is just to observe and learn and to support your coach. Remember, the coach is probably going to be excited. They're probably going to be a little bit nervous. They're going to have their script in front of them. And even with their script in front of them, they still might miss a line or skip a section. So your job as the observer is just to support the coach. How does that sound? So 3 people in breakout rooms each today. You're going to love this. And by 5 o'clock this afternoon, you're going to be emotionally free. So welcome to day 2 of the timeline therapy techniques training. Today we'll be using negative emotions number 1. Now, if you need to take a screenshot of the model and send it to your clients in the future, you can take a screenshot now, or alternatively, I've already put these up in the Facebook community in the guide section, and you can download the PDF. It's up to you. Remember, negative emotions number 1 is a dissociative technique, and the client does not get into the emotion and they do not get into the event. Remember, whenever we do timeline therapy for the first time, we always use negative emotions number 1. Although we ask our clients, is there any possible trauma? Remember, some people do repress these traumas and they've been repressed for 10, 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years. And so they consciously might not be aware of it. So to be mindful when we go through for the first time, we always use negative emotions the very first time. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you this morning. I'm going to show you how it all fits together. So remember, when we do timeline therapy, we want to read the script slightly faster than the conscious mind can process. So this means if the average person speaks at 120 words per minute, we would like to be speaking at around about 150 words per minute. It's only around about 10 to 20% faster. Does that make sense? Excellent. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through a timeline therapy intervention. Now, a timeline therapy intervention starts with removing anger and then sadness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you today how to elicit the timeline from a client. We'll do the first test, elicitation, and we'll get them to float up above the timeline for the very first time. We'll then discover the root cause for anger. Then we'll use negative emotions number 1 to remove the anger. As we go through, if we need to do any general reframing, I'll point you to where I am in the training system. And if we need to check anything in position number 3, I'll also advise you as we go along. So as we do this demonstration, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to have your timeline therapy techniques training system in your hand so you can follow along as we go. How does that sound? Sound good? Excellent. Okay. So what do we need? We need pen and paper to take notes. We need our training system there so we can follow along. And we're going to go through this together. So remember, if the emotions are not releasing, then we will reframe them using general reframes. Remember, everything we need is in the training system. Very simple system. If the emotions are not releasing during the timeline therapy process, we're going to check the 3 things at position number 3, and they will release 100% of the time. So what do we have to do? We have to make sure the client is before position number 3. We want to make sure they're before the very first event. And we also want to make sure they are totally agreeable with the unconscious mind to let them go. We'll also be getting learnings. And as I mentioned yesterday, I recommend that you push your client to get between 5 to 7 positive learnings. The more learnings, the better, and the more resourceful the client will be in the future. Remember, when it comes to the learnings should not be negative, past, or about others. Learning should be positive for the self and for the future. So remember our order and sequence. There's a chemical reaction to anger and fear. The only difference to the chemical reaction is the intensity. So remember, anger and fear are stimulants to the central nervous system. Both anger and fear are related to adrenaline, with anger being a more intense form of fear. Remember, sad, hurt, and guilt are all depressants for the central nervous system, and they slow down your breathing, your heart rate, and they can be dangerous if they're in the body for a long time. Now, to keep the client's body balanced, what we should do is we should always follow the order and sequence. Remember, we always start with anger and then sadness in the first session, and we'll do that together today. We'll then repeat anger and sadness after the break, and then we'll move on to fear, hurt, and guilt. And then by the end of the day, we will get to our limiting decisions and we'll neutralize those. So always follow the order and sequence. Now, in addition, remember that abreactions and associations can occur at any time. So you want to be on the lookout and be ready to handle them. Now, here's a clue. The first sign that an abreaction is going to occur is when your client is not following your instructions. Do you remember I shared that quote with you yesterday from Dr. Richard Bandler? And he said, "Only stupid people can't follow instructions." So what this means is if your client is not following instructions, that's going to be the person who abreacts. Does that make more sense? So if you start your session and you say, raise your right hand, and they put up their left hand, are they following instructions? If you ask them what you'd like for lunch and they tell you what they ate for dinner, did they follow your instructions? Did they answer your question? No. If they're answering your questions before you've finished your sentence, are they following instructions? It will always be that person who abreacts and associates, because only stupid people can't follow instructions. Now, that's not my quote. That's Dr. Richard Bandler's quote. So you can use that quote as well. Who's got a husband here who doesn't follow instructions? Well, what you do, Acme, you say, husband, I was reading a book the other day by Dr. Richard Bandler, and he said only stupid people can't follow instructions. Now, your husband can't yell at you because you didn't say it, did you? You didn't say it. Dr. Richard Bandler said it. So remember, stupid people can't follow instructions. Okay, well, let's execute. So I want you to open up your training system. And I'd like you to start on page number 10. On page number 10, we'll start by eliciting the timeline. And I'm going to step you through this one by one. So when I have my client with me here, I'm going to coach her whilst I'm also training you. So your job is to follow along so you understand the order and sequence. Remember, as your unconscious mind sees this, it's learning. Remember, all learning is unconscious. And the harder you try to learn, the harder it'll be. So do this. Pick something up off your desk. I should light my candle, by the way. Okay. Pick something up off your desk and put it in your hand. And what I want you to do is, in a minute, but not yet, I want you to try to pick up that thing in your hand. Not yet. And I want you to put a lot of effort into picking that thing off your hand. Overthink it, overanalyze it, and try to pick it up from your hand. So now try to pick that thing up out of your hand. Well, how am I going to pick this up? Should I use my right hand? But maybe it's in Daniel's left hand. So maybe I should change hand, but I'm right-handed. And what if I make a mistake? But what if this is a trick question? And what if then Daniel says you've done it wrong? I'm going to feel like a moron. Maybe I'm just going to wait till everybody else does it. And then I'm going to go last, and I'm going to go into the breakout room and I say, why don't you go first? Because I don't want to make a mistake. I'd rather everybody else be embarrassed than me. And then hopefully the time runs out. But don't worry about that. I'm only going to pick this up. Daniel said, try really hard. Is this a trick question? Or does he want me to pick it up? Well, my mum wasn't never able to pick it up. And you know what? My dad didn't do it either. And he thought I was stupid. So if I pick it up, maybe I'm stupid. Do you know people like this? They overanalyze everything. And if you try really hard to pick it up, it's really hard, isn't it? Or you could just go ahead and pick it up. Can you do that? Just go ahead and just pick it up. Don't think about it. Just pick it up. How easy was that? No overanalyzing. You just go and pick it up. Just do it again. Put it in your hand and just pick it up. Simple as that. It was that easy, wasn't it? But you know people who make life hard. So when you go through this, remember, the harder you try, the harder it will be. True? But if you just get in there and do it, then you're going to learn. And that's what the unconscious mind does. It's going to watch me go through this. It already knows what to do. But then what gets in our way? The conscious mind. We start to overthink it. All I want you to do is to get in there and give it a go. Okay. So Jesse, when you're ready, Jesse's going to be my demonstration subject today. We're going to do this together. So when you're ready, everybody except Jesse, I want you to have your page 10 out with you and just simply follow along. Okay, Jesse, good morning. How are you doing there?
Good morning. Good. I'm feeling refreshed.
Excellent. Beautiful. Have you ever felt anger in the past, Jesse?
Yes, I do.
No, you would never get, Jesse would never get angry.
You never know.
Never know? Oh, what's something that really pisses you off? What's something that makes you angry?
When someone pisses me off.
Give me an example.
Uh, when somebody didn't follow my instruction and do it their own way.
Can you give me a real world example of that? When somebody hasn't
Uh,
followed instructions and you got angry?
real what? Okay. When I told my brother to do some house chores and then he just sleeping by or just sitting there without doing anything, and then end up that my mom that did the job or me did the job, then I piss off.
And then when you're angry and you're pissed off, what happens to you?
I start scolding people. I start scolding my brother, to throwing tantrum, very loudly actually.
And you like doing that?
No, but
And,
if this is how I need to show my brother, then I have to do that.
and is that anger healthy for you or unhealthy?
Unhealthy.
Unhealthy. So all of us experience anger, and anger's a normal emotion. And we normally feel anger when somebody crosses our boundaries. Is that true? If
Yes.
somebody steals something from you, whether it be your time or even the truth, they lie to you, you get angry. However, what we tend to do is we then hold on to that anger for a long time. And there's some things in the past and we're angry about it and we still haven't let it go. Sometimes it might have been something somebody said to you. It might have been a relationship breakup and you're still angry about it. And we hold on to it. Now, remember that anger is not safe for the body. In fact, it hurts the body. And if we have a lot of unresolved anger, eventually it calcifies our heart, which means our heart goes hard, literally. It goes hard, then it just stops. But we don't want that to happen, do we? We want to be free from that. So, Jesse, we're going to work together today and we're going to release the emotion of anger. Now, as soon as we've released the emotion of anger, we will then go into the breakout rooms. When we go into the breakout rooms, Jesse, you will be the first client and then you will do anger and sadness once again. Because as I've been telling you all, that once we get rid of anger, sadness comes up and we've got to deal with sadness. But I'm going to let you as the coaches work with Jesse so everybody gets the opportunity to work with anger and sadness with their client. Is that okay? Perfect. So, Jesse, how would you like to be free from all of your anger?
Absolutely want.
Would your life be better?
Of course.
How would your life change if you were free from all of that anger from the past?
I will be more calmer and more happy.
Okay, calmness and happiness. Beautiful. Jesse, if I were to ask your unconscious mind where your past is and where your future is, I have an idea you might say it's from right to left or front to back or up to down or in some direction from you in relation to your body. And it's not your conscious concept that I'm interested in, it's your unconscious. So if I were to ask your unconscious mind, where's your past, to what direction would you point?
At the back.
At the back. And your future, what direction would you point if I asked your unconscious mind, where's your future?
At the front.
Front. Excellent. Very good. So what I'll do now, ladies and gentlemen, is on my paper, I'm going to write down the location of Jesse's past. So the past was behind and the future was in front. Now, just out of curiosity, Jesse, has that changed since yesterday?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, because yesterday I thought you said your past was to your left,
Right.
to your right.
To the right, yes.
So previously the past was to the right and the future was to?
The left.
Ah. What do you think that means, Jesse?
It's and the unconscious mind asked me to point.
Excellent. So within 24 hours, Jesse's perception of time has changed. So today her past is behind her and the future is in front of her. And yesterday the past was to the
Right.
right? And the future was to
Yeah.
the left. Isn't that interesting? Now, what happens is when you start to work with timeline therapy, people's perception of time can change. So just write that down. People's perception of time can change. And it's our role as the coach to identify these shifts, because the location of your past and your future has a significant impact on your personality. Now, if you'd like to learn more about that, we have provided you a book called Timeline Therapy and the Basis of Personality. And in that book, it explains in depth the meanings of having the past behind you and the future in front, or the future to the right and the past to the left. There's many different reasons for this. And what we can see is we haven't even done any therapeutic intervention yet. However, Jesse's perception is changing. And when your past shifts from here to over here, it really has a big shift in your perceptions. It changes the way that you think about the past and the future. So I want you to read the books later on so you can learn more about that. Well, Jesse, you're changing already. My gosh. That's a good thing. Excellent. So when you're ready, I want everybody to turn over to page number 12. Everybody except Jesse. Jesse's the client today. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the first test of elicitation. Now, Jesse, would you bring to mind the directions you pointed to? The past behind you and the future in front. And do you notice that they imply a line?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. And when I say a line, I don't mean to imply only visual, because in a moment I'm going to ask you to float up above that line. And by float, I also mean as sounds floating on the wind, or floating in the bathtub, or visually. However you float above your timeline is perfect. So can you just float up above your timeline? And make sure you are looking through your own eyes. Now, remaining above your timeline, just float back into the past. Are you there?
Yes.
Good. Float back towards now and stop there.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes.
Good. Now, facing towards the future, float up higher and farther back into the past. And now float out into your future. Excellent. Are you there?
Yes.
Now float up higher. Float so high that your timeline seems like 1 inch long. Good. Float back to now. And float down into now and come back into the room. Okay, welcome back. How was that? Excellent.
Very good.
Wonderful. Now, did you see those analog signals? Ladies and gentlemen, did you notice that she was sitting up higher and then lower and leaning forward and then leaning back? This is all analog communication. It's the unconscious mind communicating. So always keep an eye out for that. Okay, please now turn over to page number 13, where we will discover the root cause. Now, Jesse, when we go through it this time, I really want you just to listen to your unconscious mind. And when we go through and I ask you before, during, or after birth, I want you to listen to your unconscious mind and go with whatever comes up first. How does that sound?
Yes.
Okay, so page 13, let's begin. Now, this process should take us between 8 to 12 minutes, getting through discovering the root cause, and then we will then use negative emotions number 2. Jesse, is it all right for your unconscious mind for you to release this anger today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Yes.
What is the root cause of this problem? The first event, which when disconnected will cause the problem to disappear. If you were to know, was it before, during, or after your birth?
After.
After. If you were to know, what age were you?
5.
5. Excellent. Anything before that?
No.
Excellent. Now everybody turn over to page 14 and just float up above your timeline over the past to position number 1, facing the past. And when you get there, notice the event. Let me know when you're there.
Yes.
Now float to position number 2, directly above the event, so you're looking down on the event. Ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event, the learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. When you have your learnings that are positive for yourself and for your future, tell me what they are.
Need to become when talking to a brother, when talking to my brother.
Excellent. Be calm when talking to your brother. Excellent. What else?
Ask him why instead of scolding him. Understand why he would why would he delay, or what the action that he take longer than he has to do.
Excellent. And understanding that, how is that positive for you, for yourself, and for your future?
So I won't jump into conclusion when something happen, something similar like this happen again. Ask them about the situation before deciding, before get into the emotions, which is angry.
Excellent. Decide about the situation before getting into the emotion. Excellent. That's your third learning. Good. Give me another one. What's another positive learning for you, for yourself, and for your future?
Help him, I mean, help my brother instead of letting him do alone, because he may not understand how to do it.
Now, that learning's about your brother. How is that positive for you, for yourself, and for your future?
Meditate more.
Okay, excellent. Meditate more. Excellent. Give me another learning. What's another positive learning?
Can't think anymore.
Okay. Just ask the unconscious mind, is there anything else to learn that's positive for yourself and for your future?
Before throwing a tantrum, I need to calm myself and control my anger before throwing it out from my side, from my side. So
Excellent.
it
Good.
won't hurt anyone.
Beautiful. Give me another learning like that.
I no more can't take anymore.
Okay. Excellent. Now, I want you to float over to position number 3. So you are above the event and before the event, and you're looking towards now. And make sure you're well before any of the chain of events that led to that event. And ask yourself, now where are the emotions?
In my head.
Are they there or have they disappeared?
Still there.
Still there. Okay. Well, if they're still there, it means there must be something to learn. So just ask your unconscious mind what you need to have learned from this event. The learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learning so that you need them in the future. They'll be there. Any other positive learnings there, Jesse?
There's nothing come out from my mind and
Okay. So just make sure you're in position number 3. So you're above the event and before the event, and you're looking towards now. Make sure you're well before any of the chain of events that led to that event, and ask yourself, now where are the emotions?
I don't feel anymore.
Excellent. Now float down inside the event to position number 4, so you're looking through your own eyes, and check on the emotions. Are they there or have they disappeared now?
Disappear.
Good. Go back to position number 3. Now come back to now above your timeline, only as quickly as you can let go of all the anger on the events all the way back to now. Assume position 3 with each subsequent event. Preserve the learnings and let go of the anger all the way back to now. And when you're done, float down into now and come back into the room. Okay, welcome back. Hey, what's your telephone number? But I want you to tell me the numbers backwards.
245. 2464. 248. I thought it already.
Very good. Now the client is back to now. Procedure number 6. We want to test. Now, Jesse, can you remember any event in the past where you used to be able to feel that old emotion and go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find you cannot?
Cannot.
Cannot?
Yes.
Check again. Check one more time.
No, he's not there.
Okay. Excellent. Procedure 7. Future pace. I want you to go out into the future to an unspecified time in the future, which if it had happened in the past, you would have felt inappropriate or unwarranted anger. And notice if you can find that old emotion, or you may find you cannot.
No.
Excellent. Top job. Come back to now. Well done. I saw you let out a big breath then. How does that feel,
Yes.
Jesse?
I feel more relief, and then my head also lightweighted. Is it very feel a bit feel like just now the anger is in here, and then now a bit now I feel like lighten up.
Excellent. Well done. So what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is when you release the emotion, it's going to have an impact on you. Now, some people might feel it here in the head. What do we say when we get angry? We get hot-headed.
True.
True. And then the emotion goes and sometimes the body relaxes. And Jesse, you saw that big breath out. You went, oh, and the body does relax. And it releases the emotion immediately. So how do you feel, Jesse?
I feel more happy, cheerful. Now more relaxing.
Excellent. Happy, cheerful, and relaxed. Wonderful. Well, we started that intervention at 9:27. and we discovered the root cause at 9:27, and we had released the negative emotions by 9:36. So that process to get rid of the negative emotion took less than 10 minutes. It was about 9 minutes in total. Normally we say just releasing the negative emotion happens in less than 8 minutes, and Jessie did it in about 7 minutes. So she did very well. Jessie, congratulations. Well done. Well done. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go into the breakout rooms, and you're going to do a lot of coaching. So when we do this coaching, there's a certain order and system that I want you to follow. Now, it's very important that we all follow the same system so we get the same results and it's predictable as we go.